A pleasant day, everyone. We are the Group 3 reporters, and today we are going to tackle our assigned task. Everyone, may you lend your ears as we start our discussion, and I am hoping that you will give your full attention on this matter. To formally start, I want to introduce myself first. This is True Hannah Rose, the first reporter. Before to begin our formal discussion, let's have first an introductory activity. So the main objectives of this activity is you are going to guess the picture of what does that image implies or refers to. By the way, that particular image has something to do with our topic today. And as you can see, there are particular objects that conveys a hidden word. Now, all you have to do is to identify and analyze of what does the word of that corresponding images. All you need to do is to form a word out of that pictures. So for the first image, what do you think is the answer?
1. Cultural values.
Okay, it is cultural values. How about the second image?
Sociological theory.
Okay, very good. Sociological theory. How about this picture?
1. Entrepreneurship.
Okay, entrepreneurship. The fourth image?
Belief.
Yes, it is belief. And the last image?
Customs.
Okay, very good. So, with that given activity, our topic this morning has something to do with the theory of sociological entrepreneurship. It is a universal fact that entrepreneurship is an important factor in economic development. And talking about an entrepreneur, he or she is a risk bearer and works under uncertainty. Now, to open up the discussion this morning, sociological theory are different from other theories because they tend to analyze entrepreneurial activities from the standpoint of social context and corresponding processes and effects. And you know what, guys? Various entrepreneurship theories have been proposed by the scholars over different periods of time that aid in the process of development of the field of entrepreneurship. And one of it is the sociological theory of entrepreneurship. So what is sociological theory of entrepreneurship? According to the definition, it is a concept that proposes that secondary sources of entrepreneurship development are sociological factors. And some of the sociological factors include attitudes and values that impact the entrepreneurial supply in a community. So according to this concept, the sociological factors are the secondary source of entrepreneurship development. The identifying feature of sociological entrepreneurship theories is that they focus on the social context of entrepreneurship development, like focus sa attitudes and values that highly impacted on the community. So, the field of entrepreneurship, by the way, can be traced back to the Industrial Revolution, where entrepreneurial activity marked the rise of innovation that eventually promotes social change all over the world. So, simply speaking, sociological theories basically focuses on social context of entrepreneurship behavior within the society. So that is all about sociological theory of entrepreneurship. Now let's proceed to the two major approaches. So the first approach is we have here the classical approach and the other one is the modern approach. So classical approach is it summarizes the works of Weber and Marx including a certain limitations and examples. On the other hand, modern approach, it deals with a theory such as Haslett's theory, McClelland's theory, Cochrane's theory, and Schumpeter's theory. So these theories are influenced by both sociology as well as other fields such as economics, psychology, cultural studies, and etc. Although classical sociology such as Max Weber and Karl Marx did not extensively theorize the act of entrepreneurship, but their works do possess mention of how the entrepreneurial activity was a driving force of social change in earlier times. Now let's go on to the first theory of classical approach to entrepreneurship is the theory of social change by Max Weber. So Max Weber was a German sociologist in the early 1900s. He attributed the spread of entrepreneurial activity to the ethical attitudes of a particular community. Moreover, this theory also explains how religion is intertwined with the act of entrepreneurship. So according to Weber, an individual's interest in certain economic activities is determined by the ethical values that they have been taught by their community. Here, makita jud nato that religion plays an extremely important role in deciding economic behavior. So from the given statement, it denotes that Max Weber contended that entrepreneurial growth is dependent upon ethical value system of the societies concerned. So, the central figure of this theory provides an analysis of religion and its impact on entrepreneurial culture. So that was all about the theory of social change by Max Weber. And now let's proceed to the second theory of classical approach to entrepreneurship is the theory of capitalism by Karl Marx. So Marx classified the entrepreneur as the elite capitalist who appropriates profit and exploits labor through economic mechanisms. So according to Marx, the entrepreneur sets up a production process and aims to maximization of profits. However, he is not deserving of the surplus value that is generated from the process, since the source entity of that profit is a wage worker who has been exploited in the equation. So, kung atong tugion or sabton ang whole statement, Marx thus inadvertently vilifies all those who claim to be entrepreneurs. Marx's critique of the capitalist system is very evident in his works, and of course, his theory explains the driving force behind a large number of up and coming entrepreneurial organizations across the globe. Additionally, for Marx also, capitalism is a social order characterized by two conditions. And what are these conditions? Things, or gitawag na to commodities, are produced for sale in order to make a profit. So for sale, it is not for immediate use. It is not for consumption. For profit, it is not according to custom. It is not according to a need. It is not according to tradition, or it is not according to maintain a fixed standard of living. So, that is a theory of capitalism by Karl Marx. And now, let's move on to the first theory of modern approach to entrepreneurship is gitawag na to the theory or Hoslet's theory of leadership. So, Hoslet's defined entrepreneurship as majorly an act of leadership and control. He disagrees with the traditional Marxist approach, asserting that maximization of profits comes secondary in the act of entrepreneurship, while the primary factor is leadership style and management technique. According to Hoslet's, most entrepreneurs hail from a particular social class. So Hoslet's theory of leadership kay kani nga class is usually endowed with generational wealth and power, which further leads to training and development of leadership skills in individuals belonging to that particular class. Therefore, according to Hoslet's sociological, it is sociocultural factors such as class and community play an important role in determining the extent to which an individual will engage in entrepreneurial activity. Another one, entrepreneurship, according ni Hoslet's, is a function of managerial skills and leadership. Business also requires finance, but that is of secondary importance. So he further explains that a person who is to become an industrial entrepreneur must have more than the drive to earn profits and amass wealth. So in this process, he has to show his ability to lead and manage. In business, there are generally three types of leadership. Natay gitawag nga merchant money lenders, managers, and entrepreneurs. So in practice, money lenders are market-oriented and managers are authority-oriented. But entrepreneurs have, in addition to this, a production orientation. So, in this context, it is important to note that making profit is not enough to succeed in entrepreneurship. Hoslats opine that entrepreneurship can develop in a society where its culture permits a variety of choices and where social processes kay not rigid, no. The social conditions should ensure the development of enterprise-oriented personalities. And mao na siya ang theory ni Hoslats in terms of leadership, no. And next one is we have here Max Leland's need for achievement theory. So this theory takes into account psychological factors that impact economic behavior. According to David McClelland, entrepreneurial activity is characterized by innate needs that eventually determine the extent to which an individual will engage in entrepreneurship. So these needs are the need for achievement, the need for power, and the need for affiliation. So, siguro kay kanang naka-familiar naman ta ni Steve Jobs. So for everybody's information, so Steve Jobs is he is the CEO of Apple Incorporation, and he was known to have a high need for achievement, so much so that he always chased perfection. So other successful entrepreneurs frequently stress on the importance of high drive and passion in entrepreneurial setups. In this context, McClelland tries to find the internal factors like human values and motivates that lead man to exploit opportunities, to take advantage of favorable trade conditions. So that is why he gives importance to the innovative characteristics of entrepreneurial rule. So the entrepreneur is concerned with the need for achievement. So the need for achievement is somewhat as called as a desire to do well, not so much for the sake of social recognition or prestige, but for the sake of an inner feeling of personal accomplishment. So this motive is called as the kanang dunay kanang tendency to strive for success in situations involving an evaluation of one's performance in relation to some standard of excellence. So people having high need for achievement are more likely to succeed as entrepreneurs. Now, let's move on to the third theory of modern approach to entrepreneurship. Ang gitawag natong theory ni Coach Franz. Kisama ni si Coach Franz. Sa man niyang theory, it is a cultural theory of entrepreneurship. So Thomas Cochran emphasized the significance of cultural values in both the attitudes of entrepreneurs as well as investors. According to him, entrepreneurs are influenced by how their culture views certain factors of their occupation, such as risk-taking attitudes and difficulty level of career development. So, definitely, Cochran's emphasizes cultural values, rule expectations, and social sanctions as the key elements that determine the supply of entrepreneurs. According to him, an entrepreneur is neither a supernormal individual nor a deviant person, but somehow they represent the society's model personality. So, ang performance ni Coach Rans is refers na siya sa culture, and it is influenced by the three factors. First, his own attitudes towards his occupation. Second, the rule expectations held by sanctioning groups. And the last but not the least is the operational requirements of the job. So in this context, society's values are the most important determinant of the attitudes and rule expectations. So this would be the end of my discussion, and I do hope that you acquired lots of information in this topic. So now I will give you to the next reporter, Edeline Canteveros.
Alright, good morning everyone. I am Adeline and I am the second presenter of the group. So in continuation to what Ms. Chu said, and there's a modern approach of entrepreneurship, here the fourth one, we have the theory of innovation by Schumpeter. So Schumpeter attributed the entrepreneurial activity to creativity and innovation. So, diba, when we say innovation or innovative, it's a new idea, method, or introduction of something new. So, the idea of this theory is basically an innovator is the one who introduces new combinations, wherein An entrepreneur dapat holistic iyang perspective to what's going on sa iyang society and has to do with its creativity. Okay, according here, largely asserting that reformation of all processes related to goods and services is the only driving factor of entrepreneurship. So what does it mean? It means that the business itself is dili stagnant or static. It is dynamic. Therefore, there are lots of changes and those changes is dapat fit in siya to what is the society's demand or unsa ang trend baron, right? So, best example for this one is kaning gitawag na to og the technological advancements. For example, kaning gadgets. Di ba before, ato ang naandan is, or like the phone that we're using before, kay keypads. And of course, time to time, may mga changes na hitabo. And those changes are actually the product of innovation. And kana nga innovation is gikan na siya sa creativity sa usa ka tao, which is the entrepreneur. So basically, the idea of this theory is that whatever the changes or like whatever the society's demand, dapat the entrepreneur itself aware siya sa what is going on to the society. So, entrepreneurs time to time innovates and create ideas nga i-offer nila sa market that would also benefit to what the society's needs and wants. So, therefore, innovation is the realization of business. So, mo ni siyang idea ni Sean Peters sa iyang theory of innovation. So, the next one, the fifth one, we have here the Culture's theory of entrepreneurship. So, according sa definition or sa concept, this theory explains the entrepreneurial approaches of an individual from standpoints like the occupational hazards that he encounters and expectations he had from his own profession. So this theory means that the entrepreneurs, influenced by their own attitudes toward their occupation and expectations of group, facilitating new ventures as well as the difficulty level of operational requirements of the career. So, basically, ang cultural values, ang role, ang expectations, kaya nag-play sa important role in the development of entrepreneurship. So, kung unsa ang iyahang perception sa position or sa iyahang gibarugan, mag-reflect na on how he or she strives to the idea of being an entrepreneur. So, mo na siya ang theory ni Coach Ran sa entrepreneurship. The sixth and the last one, we have here the E. Hagen's theory of social change or kang Everett's. Some people would also call this a withdrawal or withdrawal theory. So, E. Hagen introduced the theory of social change as an endeavor to explain how individuals change their social status in order to gain societal respect. So, from the word itself, social, it has to do with the society. So the core notion in a theory is that when individuals feel that they are no longer respected by the society, they tend to implement innovative ways by means of which their social status can get positively transformed. So ang main or ang aim aning a theory is to regain their lost status. And according to Hagen, entrepreneurship is a function of status withdrawal. That is why kaning a theory can also be called as a withdrawal theory. For example, kaning the samurai community of Japan, which traditionally enjoyed a high status, but it was lowered when they were defeated by the other groups with superior weapons. So, ang kaning pong samurai community sa Japan, kay kuan siya more traditional bitaw kani siya. So before, of course kanang di pa man kayo ingon nga advanced ang technology before. So the weapons that they are using is very much traditional. Unlike here, since right now, since na naman ta sa modern approach, no? Na ta sa modernization or sa gitawag na to og new era. And in this era, kay daghan jud kay mga technological advancements. So basically, makaproduce ta og mga new or like the samurai community, makaproduce sila og new weapons nga swak sa karon nga age. Therefore, katong mga traditional nga weapons nga giuse sa summer community o sa kana nga particular nga group kay they would definitely or they will tend to kinang ma-lower sila sa karon nga year or karon nga era. It's because wala naman naswak ang ilahang mga gipanggamit before, so ay sa karon, di ba? So basically this theory or this kanang like the summer community kay makuan sila mo venture out sila into something new. So what they did was that, so to gain their status, ang samurai community or katong the traditional one, they pursued entrepreneurial development and contributed to fastest growing Asian economy. So masod gapon diri ang idea of innovation, how they create the weapons into creativity nga swak sa kung unsa ang demand right now sa society. So this desire to change the prevailing status can be indicated as the acquired tendency of an individual to become an entrepreneur. So this happens in three situations. So the first situation is that when the individual loses their existing social status to someone who has suddenly regained superiority and enhanced social respect. In other terms, and in other words, kanang former higher status group na replace siya by new group. What common ani niya nga example is that kana bitang gadgets na. Before ang kuan jud ang sikat jud kay nga gadgets, especially sa phone, kay Nokia. Nya time to time, of course, nag-innovate sila into something new inana. Mo tay masikat, diba? Pero right now, as you can see, mas patok ang Apple or the iPhone. It's because the iPhone kay kanang murag superior na siya. It's because murag daghan ang nag-innovate ano niya. Though the Nokia one still, of course, gihapon na diba right now, pero masikat jud ang iPhone. Murag nahug siya nga because kanang nikagat jud ang mga tao because of maybe the creativity, the innovative ideas that they are using, and the Nokia ones kay murag natabunan siya. So what the Nokia did is, of course, they still continue bisan og kanang gitawag na to na law na sila. The next one is if there is any form of defamation of the values and position of the individual by someone superior to him. Of course, another reason or desire why there is a need of social change is kanang defamation, which leads to disrespecting someone's value, especially by someone high ang position kaysa niya, and they tend to create an innovative jud nga marag ideas, right? So this particular example kay kuan siya kanang it has to do with someone's kanapitang iyahang treatment sa iyahang isa ka tao, especially sa business nga side or sa business nga aspect, on how he or she will treat other people. If ever nga for example, ako, I have my business, and then work ako ang nag-una, then naabot bag-o nya mas patok iyaha nya, since patok man iyaha na akong gidaot maayo, di ba? So what I did, of course, is nag-innovate ko og something new, or nag-implement ko og new innovative ideas nga mas waksad sa unsa ang nakita nako sa society. Therefore, mabalik ang akohang social status or like ma-regain ang social status. Kaya di ba mao man ni ang aim sa kaning theory. So yun ano siya. The next one is kaning, or the third one, if the individual is unable to accept the newly acquired social status due to the transformation of existing society into new social order. Example ani is kanang mga elders or mga old ones they reflect for more favorable past, so murag na ay conflict no sa relevance or timely existing idea from the past, like kanang mga products nga or like mga ideas nga or the products or nga gi-offer sa business traditional siya, pero since na naman to sa modernization, of course mas patok yun ang modernization. So ang katong mga old ones kay murag mabaliwala na ba, so mao na siya na conflict. So what, of course unsay man buhaton, dapat para ma-regain ang social status, mag-create sila new ideas. Alright, so mao na sila, no, under na siya sa social change kang iihigen. So the bottom line sa sociological entrepreneurship theory has to do with the first one. We have the social movement, the way how creative minds, which are the entrepreneurs, create changes and introduce goods that can be beneficial to the society, like what I said kanina, di ba? The next is the cultural values, the family ties, trust effect, entrepreneurship. So sa cultural values, ano siya? The economist aning a theory believes that cultural values deeply affect the entrepreneurship and economic development in a way that someone from that particular environment is motivated to innovate, create, and take risk with regards sa ilang own culture and respect the belief, norms, and etc. Sa family ties is that support, if the strong family support is within the entrepreneur, then this will be fruitful effect. But if family does not care about businessman, then it can cause adverse effect. So what saman ang pasabot ani? Of course, it has to do with the individual or the entrepreneur's behavior and perception. Unsaon niya pag kuano is important good ang how the people that surrounds you or sa ang pag-treat nila nimo maka-affect na siya on how you will drive that in the business, right? Then the last one, the trust effect and the entrepreneurship. According to Hoslitz, the persons who introduces innovative ideas reject the traditional ways of doing the things. Why? From the word itself, trust effect, of course, kanang marabitog makaingon sa ka nga dili bitaw reliable na, pero dili sa tanan noon, pero like diba kanang if the business good kay mo innovate siya or like mo venture out into new something, dapat timely, relevant, no? So of course ma-disregard na to ang mga old ideas, mga past or like mga traditional ideas or products. So economists believe that the special attention given to society can improve the relations between the enterprise and its surroundings. Of course, kay sociological man siya, so it has to do with the surroundings, the society itself. Unsa ang wants yet or demands sa society. So mo nang idea of sociological entrepreneurship theory, right? So ang inyo lang remember is, of course, sociological has to do with the society. So that's it. So from the modern approach to the bottom line of the sociological entrepreneurship theory, okay, has been discussed. And if you guys have any questions regarding with this part, you guys can comment sa stream or you can PM. So that's it, everyone. That ends my part. I hope you guys learned and understand something from my part. So the next presenters will be presenting to you another or like more in-depth about samong topic. So thank you everyone for listening.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Spinosa Arnelin F., the third reporter. So this time, I will report or explain how sociological factors accelerate the growth of entrepreneurs. So meaning, giunsa or unsa ang mga sociological factors nga mapadali ang kalambuan sa pagiging entrepreneur o kalambuan sa imong business. Mga factors na makalambo sa business, the forces of the custom, values, the rigidity or flexibility of changing social status, acceptance of new ideas, freedom to exercise intellectual curiosity are determined by sociocultural values which act as channels for economic action that gives birth to entrepreneurship. Meaning, mga factors na makalambo sa business or sa pagiging entrepreneur tungod sa mga naandan or mga practices sa mga tao in a certain place or unsay trend or unsay uso-uso. So as an entrepreneur man gyud or if mag-create tag business para mulambo na kay tan-awon nimo kung unsay uso-uso or unsay patok dito nga place. Para again ma-success ang imong business. So dapat na mutan-aw jud ka sa ilahang naandan or practices. Next, the values. Yes, very important ang values as an entrepreneur para mulambo na imong business. Dapat, as an entrepreneur, you should build a trust and a patience para sa imong customers. Kay nabayad yun na nga term na customers is always right. So, patience lang yun ta. Next, the rigidity or dapat flexible ka pagkatao in changing social status o para dali ra ka maka-change or makahimog strategies how to persuade your customers or unsaon nimo madani sila na mopalit sa imong product or sa imong negosyo. Next, kanisad, acceptance of new ideas. So, dapat as an entrepreneur, willing jud ka mo accept og mga new ideas or mga suggestions sa mga tao para mas mulambo pa imong business or pagiging entrepreneur. Example, kanang naay mo ingon nimo na pwede ilisan nimo imong product or negosyo kanang patok sa mga tao ba og kanang dali mahalin ug naa sa imong sulti nimo na pagunahuna og nice pa nga strategies or pun-in na imong mga strategies para sa imong business. So, ikaw as an entrepreneur, para mulambo na imong business, so imo na siyang i-accept ang katong mga suggestions. And next, the freedom to exercise intellectual curiosity. So, dapat you have freedom or you give freedom to your customers. Dapat sa naasad kay pagka-curiosity kay para makadetermine ka unsay socio-cultural values ato nga society or ato nga place. Kay maumang yun ni ang muak as a channels or a medium for the economic action that gives birth to the entrepreneurship. Next na factors para sa acceleration of growth for the business is the entrepreneurship is likely to get a most particular social culture. So meaning as an entrepreneur, mag-base jud ka kung unsa nga kind of social culture dito nga certain place para in town ma-success imuhang business. Next, also the behaviors of individuals in a society is influenced by first, the society's values. So, we all know man sa nga ang primary goal of many entrepreneurs is to operate or manage a business that can bring in large profits. In addition, to earn money, a business can also promote social values that it can benefit to others. Social values can be incorporated into the everyday business plan such as pagprotect sa environment. Protecting environment is the one value that can easily become part of your business process. Like, pwede ka mag-purchase of recycled products such as papers, plastics, and printer ink cartridges. And you can properly dispose of any hazardous waste materials. And you can also conserve energy by turning off computers and lights kung wala ka nagamit. And keep your company vehicles in a good working order to reduce harmful emissions. Next, pwede sa nagamiton imong business to support humanitarian causes that can relate to your business. For example, if you operate a food-related business, parehaan ang naaba kay restaurant or a bakery. So, pwede jud ka mo donate a portion of your sales to feed or makahatag ka sa mga tao nga nanginahanglan kaayo. And you can also prepare meals for homeless shelters or kanang mga bata or tao nga nanlilimos. Because through of that, or because sa imuhang business or kana imuhang buhaton, makatabang ka ana nila. Sunod, tungod sad sa imong business, maka-help sad ka sa imong community. Or you can demonstrate social values in a way you conduct your business, like you can charge a reasonable price for your goods and services while placing a strong emphasis on a customer service. O kuan sad, pwede sad ka mag-provide og work environment na ang katong mga employees dapat ang trato kay fair jud or patas, and hire employees who can share your same value structure. And you can also balance your desire to run a profitable business with conducting an ethical manner. And next, pwede ka maghimo or mag-conduct og business with a mission on promoting values. By becoming a social entrepreneurs, you can manage business that can benefits to the society. Parehaan ng producing and marketing a green product that helps the environment. Like kanang mga recycled materials. Like, pwede na nimo siyang gamiton as a business. Like, maghimo ba ka og bags, kanang mga lanterns that made up of plastics or mga recycled materials. So next, we move on now sa laing behavior of individual in a society that can influence by. So, kani siya, the religious beliefs. So guys, dapat we should know how to respect, especially sa ilahang religious beliefs. Kay ilahi bayatag mga religious beliefs. So, because of that, we need to respect it. And next, the customs. So, kung we manage business, dapat tanawon or aware ta sa ilahang customs or mga naandan para maka-idea ta unsa ato ang business na dapat himuon or unsa nga product or negosyo para inana nga way na adjud tay mga customers or mga suki, and also because of that masakses ang ato ang business. Also, the factors nga mulambo ang business is the entrepreneur merely performs a role as per the expectations of the society. So, mao na akong gingon. Meaning, as an entrepreneur, dapat magunahuna kag business nga naa-joy expectation or merely kung unsa ang naa dito sa society or unsay mga uso-uso dito ba. So, next, nga factor sad as per Jean Baptist. So, kani si Jean Baptist, usa ni siya ka aristocratic industrialist. So, nisulti siya nga, the entrepreneur combines land of one labor of another and the capital of yet another to produce a products. Nanasa siya, by selling the product, he pays interest on the capital, rent on land, and wages to laborers, and what remains is profit. And the first time distinction between the capitalist as the financer and the entrepreneur as the organizer. And that's all of my report.
Hi everyone, I am Gianna Kayla Caballero and I will be reporting about the sociological theories of entrepreneurship. So, what are the sociological theories of entrepreneurship? The first one is necessity versus opportunity entrepreneurship. There are two different types of entrepreneurs with different incentives and consequences. Individuals who are initially unemployed before starting businesses are defined as necessity entrepreneurs, and individuals who are wage or salary workers enrolled in school or college or are not actively seeking a job are defined as opportunity entrepreneurs. Number two is institutional theory, and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs need to build legitimacy in order to succeed in business. Institutional entrepreneurship occurs when person or a group of people work to drastically change an institution and in the process for a new institution. So, for example, if a person thinks that the company that employs him isn't working at well, he might try to completely change the institution. He can make some strategic moves such as pointing out legal violations or things that aren't working at the company and suggesting incremental improvements. The next is emancipation theory and entrepreneurship. Views the entrepreneur as leading a process of emancipation. The term emancipation has roots in Roman era practices of buying, selling, and keeping slaves, but also wives and children. In Roman times, a son needed to be freed from the legal authority of the father to make his own way in the world. Randova 2019 proposed that entrepreneurship can be taught as means of emancipation. They take a positive spin on a critical theory perspective. They define entrepreneuring as efforts to create new economic, social, institutional, and cultural environments by the actions of groups or individuals. To bolster their arguments, they point out that there are three key ways in which entrepreneuring resembles emancipation processes. And these are seeking autonomy, authoring, and making declarations. Seeking autonomy has a long considered a motive of self-employment rather than working for an employer. Autonomy is also a goal of emancipation. Emancipation can be defined as breaking free from some authority figure or system. And one of the ways is authoring. Authoring is about making something one's own or taking ownership or becoming. Entrepreneurs must seek to build their own networks, arrangements, norms, and structures to preserve their ventures. And the last one is making declarations. Making the declarations refer to the rhetoric entrepreneurs employing to gain legitimacy for their ventures or create change. Entrepreneurs need to create meaning to hold together webs or stakeholders that support their endeavors or value their products. Another part of sociological theory of entrepreneurship is withdrawal of status respect theory of entrepreneurship. It takes a long-run perspective examining the entrepreneurial tendencies of whole cultural population. And it was already discussed by Miss Adeline Cantiveros. This theory of social change explains that when members of some social groups feel that their values and status are not respected by the society, they turn to innovation to get the respect of the society. Like what Miss Adeline said about the Heians use example of samurai community of Japan. The Heian use examples like the samurai community of Japan, which had traditionally enjoyed a high status, but it was lowered when they were defeated by other groups with superior weapons. To regain their status, the samurai pursued entrepreneurial development and contributed to the fastest growing Asian economy. Another is social capital theory of entrepreneurship. This theory views the entrepreneurial social capital as the most important determinant of entrepreneurial entry and success. Social capital encourages entrepreneurship when people can access essential resources via social networks, thus conversing their time and money. Membership in multiple social networks also enhances people's mental capability to perceive opportunity, additionally encouraging their entrepreneurship. More often, entrepreneurs work in social networks to get their ventures up and running, to grow and to thrive. Social network perspective has gained steam and evidence that networks are useful tools for gaining access to resources has emerged. Population ecology of entrepreneurship views entrepreneurs as variations in an evolutionary process akin to natural selection. The theory is about the tension between the need to be considered as legitimate in order to compete, but also the need to be competitive. As more organizations enter the market, they become increasingly legitimate. But this leads to greater competition, making survival more challenging. Information processing theory of entrepreneurship. This theory views humans as inherently limited information processors and focuses on organizing in ways that optimize information processing. The theory of information processing to explain and predict the creation of new ventures. They start with the assumption that business environments produce information in varying quantities and varieties. For instance, a very simple environment might produce a small amount of very similar information, whereas a complex environment produces a large quantity of heterogeneous information. The last one is social network theory of entrepreneurship. The structure of social networks and their component parts may influence entrepreneurship. Social network theory predicts that entrepreneurs will be successful to the extent that they obtain adequate and limited and timely resources through their social networks. Networking is an essential factor in the development of a professional activity. It allows the entrepreneur to create professional relationships which will eventually become commercial relations. And that ends my part. Miss Hannah Traya will continue about the other sociological theories of entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Hannah, the last reporter. So, social identity theory and entrepreneurship. This theory focuses on the individual's self-perception as the main driver of entrepreneurial behaviors. Social identity theory came out of Henry Tajfel and John Turner, 1979. Experiments showing that the slightest priming of group membership creates prejudice. Then, ang kaning social identity theory, gigamit na ni siya to explain ngano ang human personalities o ang behaviors seem to be context specific. Then, a given individual may act differently depending on which groups they perceive themselves to belong. Then, according to Obskonka et al. 2012, he argued that individual beliefs and attitudes are unlikely to be the main drivers of entrepreneurship. Rather, they use social identity theory to suggest that individuals take on the norms of the groups they join. For example, if a scientist joins an entrepreneurial faculty, they are more likely to consider entrepreneurship as a career route. Critical theory of entrepreneurship. Critical theory questions the assumptions and approaches to entrepreneurship research currently in use. Then next, weak ties theory of entrepreneurship. The main idea is that opportunities come up for acquaintances, not for close friends. So, ang kaning weak ties theory kay gikan ni siya ni Mark Grunewalder in 1969 as a theory that explains why some people seem to access to more and better opportunities than others. So he conducted a study of around 200 people who had just gotten a new jobs and asked them how they got their jobs, and most of them, around 75%, had got them from acquaintances. So dili naman ni siya bago sa ato nga tinuod man sa ni siya nahitabo. Like for example, I have a friend nga she apply to that company without any skills. Then ni-apply siya sa anong company it because na siya tita nga manager ana. Then later on, dali ra kay siya nakasud it because naa siya backer. Then kaning weak ties, it may looser relationship but they have their own benefits to bring to the entrepreneur. For example, kanang ang weak ties may be especially helpful in bridging the gap between the entrepreneur and other networks he needs to access. Having too few or too many of each kind of tie in your network can be problematic. So in a contrast, this might be acquaintances or a stranger with a common cultural background. The point is that the strength of these ties can be substantially affect interactions, outcomes, and well-being. Next, embeddedness theory of entrepreneurship. The theory looks at the entrepreneurs as part of a web of durable social relations that constrain and enable them. So being embedded in the social structure creates opportunity and improves performance. Embedding enable the entrepreneurs to use the specifics of the environment. Thus, both recognition and realization of opportunity are conditioned by the entrepreneur's role in the social structure. Next, social judgment theory. The theory looks to the perceptions of others as constraint for new entrepreneurs and their ventures. So, ang kaning social judgment theory of entrepreneurship, it looks to the entrepreneurs, stakeholders' social judgment about their ventures. These judgments are important because of the way that stakeholders make decisions to support a burgeoning venture or not to. Next, diffusion of innovation theory. This theory puts the emphasis on innovations and how they diffuse according to regular process. So, ang kaning diffusion of theory describes kaning mga pattern and speed at which new ideas, practice, or product spread through population. So, ang main player ani is the theory are innovators, are early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. So, in marketing, ang kaning diffusion of innovation theory is often applied to help understand and kanang promote the adoptions of new product. So, ang kaning theory gidevelop ni E.M. Roger communication theories at the University of New Mexico in 1962. Then, integrating previous sociological theories of behavior change, it explained the passage of an idea through stages of adoption by different actors. So, the main people in the diffusion, as I said earlier, katong innovation theory, o katong mga innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggard. So, unsa man na sila? So, ang innovators, kawan ni mga tao nga open sila to risk and the first to try the new ideas. Sila to ang kanang risk and first to try new ideas. While ang Early adopters mao ni mga tao nga interesado sila nga mutry og new technology and establishing their utility in society. Nya ang early majority mao ni ang mga those who pave the way for use of innovation within mainstream society and are part of the general population. Then ang late majority mao ni another part of the general population, the set of people who follow the early majority into adopting the innovation as part of their daily life. So ang laggards kani mga people who lag the general population in adopting innovative products and kanang mga new ideas. This is also a primary because they are risk averse and set in their ways of doing things. But eventually, the sweep of an innovation through mainstream society makes it impossible for them to conduct their daily life and work without it. So as a result, they are forced to begin using it. So a recent example lang ani kaning Facebook. So it started off as a product targeted at students and professionals in educational institutions. So as a students use in increased beyond school, the social media site spread to mainstream society and across borders. Next, informal entrepreneurship theory. An emerging literature that recognizes the importance of informal types of entrepreneurship. So, kaning informal entrepreneurship happens ni sa gawas of the formal economy. Then ang formal economy is the part that is legal and legitimate. The legal economy is where the companies and entrepreneurs pay taxes to abide by regulations and patent licenses that are set out by governments or institutions. So while ang informal entrepreneurship is not about purely black market enterprises like illegal gambling, rings, outlaw biker gangs, or illegal fireworks factories. Kani informal entrepreneurship can involve everything from street vendors to domestic work within the home. In many societies, informal entrepreneurship is a major part of the economy, especially in developing the countries. Then often, informal entrepreneurship is so normalized in a society that is considered legitimate in the minds of the majority, even if it might also be illegal. Then according to Suchman, 1995, legitimacy is a generalized perception or assumption that the actions of an entity are desirable, proper, or appropriate within some socially constructed system of norms, values, beliefs, and definitions. Thus, any way of conceiving of informal entrepreneurship is to think of it as entrepreneurship that is legitimate but not legal. According to Webb et al., he suggested that entrepreneurship that is both illegal and legitimate is part of the renegade economy, not the informal economy. That's all for my report.
Alright, everyone, that ends our presentation. And by that being said, I hope you guys have learned something from today's discussion. And for further understanding about our topic, which is the sociological entrepreneurship theory, you guys can watch the video presentation that is posted on the stream also. And if you have any more questions or clarifications with regard to our topic, you guys can comment through the Google Classroom, or you can also send us a message through Messenger. And that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for listening.
Sana mali. Oy, gawin na kani. Maya, lalo mo pag December, kasi ako kung kapungaling ka na naglitaw niya ang sales, ano yun? Wait, sila kung badun. Wala, ay yun, sa problema, ani. Ang gamay ko siya, ano yun? Ang buwan na.
Uy, boy, ito ka na. Pinidyo na ako bago sa cellphone nun, day.
Para sa day?
Para sa akong online class.
Asa na tayo magpagong cellphone day?
Day, nagpagpa ka dyan, day. Nagpaya na, day. Ako nagpagita ka ron kay kaya nang hindi kong quality. Lag, yaka nang dagan ng library ba para mag-store sa para sa akong online class.
Importante jud ka na nimo day, labi na estudyante ka, then hindi na ba jud kaayo ng cellphone, labi na sa online class.
Ayo, asa ka pwede makapalit ka rin? Kailangan na mag-quality.
Ano ka na ikan day? Dili ka ba? Ay, ayaw day, kabalo ka ka day, naku dili man ni sa kasaway na ko ilang store ha. Ako, wag ko pa ko nakapalit. Ni aking bulan nakapalit ko. Dali ra kay naguba day ang cellphone. Pati pa jud kay kamera din, buting kay tanan niya. Gamay pa jud kayo kanang storage. So dili jud ka kaya sa imong plaza na.
Asa ka tani?
Nakadai ka nimo mga storage.
Ay, hindi siya day. Ay, sinutagan siya daw.
Ikaw kumahay ano tay
Na mag-selfie ka. Yeah, mag-selfie ka na ta, day.
Atong subayan day.
Ay, balo na ko. Si Angay na kong buhaton. Para mataas na akong sales. Hi, ma'am. Good morning. Saan po pangita, ma'am? Ay, sus, ma'am. Nanadere. Ang imong ang nanadere. Tsunami cellphone ko, ma'am. Yan, nice kaayo ang quality. Tanawa, ma'am. Nice good kayo. Bridge niyo siya, muludin. Gamit siya kayo siya, ma'am. Especially, hindi mo ma'am online classes na. Oh, sus, ma'am. Sus, na ala dyan dito rin, ma'am. Nice din ang quality. Ang camera sa... As in, grabe na siya ka-nice, ma'am. Oo, ma'am. Dito na siya muludin.
Yan ko sa quality sa camera. Okay ra ba lang storage? Overall, nice ang performance.